England, of course, losing 2-1 last night to Spain. Do you know what? Let's hear, shall we then, from the main man, the England captain. He didn't look fit. He didn't look right. Here's what he had to say after the game last night.
It's not a time to talk about personal people or me or, we're a team and everyone's at their physical maximum. You're at the end of a tough season. People are dealing with a lot of stuff, so it's not just me. But, the game plans out and the tournament plans out in a way. The manager makes decisions that's best for the team. I made that clear in the last game. And for me personally, it's just another tough loss in a big game. So. We're going to get as much rest as we can, probably a few weeks rest now, and then you have to dust off and go again and fight to get back here in the next World Cup.
Rory, I love Harry Kane. He's a world-class centre-forward. He's a great leader. I've interviewed him on many occasions. He's a really, really good bloke. But it did not take a genius to look at him over the past couple of weeks and see that he just wasn't fit. He wasn't running properly. He wasn't moving properly. So many occasions, Saka would get him down the right-hand side and Kane would almost just find himself standing on the edge of the box. He just didn't look right. You said earlier, you kind of put that down to him. He should have taken himself out of the team. But in hindsight, was it possible for Gareth Southgate, do you think, in a semi-final or final, to drop his captain?
Well, I think he has to. I think he has to take some responsibility here. Harry Kane himself. It's all very well putting the blame on Gareth Southgate. And Southgate picks a team.
He is the manager.
He does
pick the 11.
There's an element of truth to it, but it's not the whole truth. It's not the whole equation. Harry Kane, as captain, carries some weight. His words are very heavy in that dressing room. And Harry Kane has a responsibility. If he isn't feeling it, if he isn't feeling fit, if he isn't feeling up to the job, he needs to take some responsibility and say to his manager that he shouldn't be selected, because we don't need him to play. It's not a situation that we've had in the past where we don't really have any alternative strikers. It's not like we've got David Nugent sitting on the bench. We've got a proper bench with proper hungry goal scorers who have done the business this tournament far more significantly than Harry Kane. So Harry Kane could actually be valiant, fall on his sword, do the right thing for the country. If he were genuinely the patriot that he likes to pretend he is, fall on his sword.
I'm sure he is. I don't think he's pretending, Rory. Come on.
But what
it means a lot to him. We all know he cares. Come on.
If he genuinely cared more for the team than for self-gratification, the easiest thing for him to do would be go, do you know what? I'm not fit. I've got half hour in me. Start Watkins, start Toney. Because let's face it, Ivan Toney was the absolute boy when he came on in Gelsenkirchen.
And Watkins
changed the game altogether. Yeah. And Ollie Watkins has scored one of the biggest goals, not only in his career, not only in this England team, but in England history.
That's true.
Ollie Watkins has now gone into the history books. It's basically him, Harry Kane, Bobby Charlton are the only three players that have ever scored a goal to take England into a final. So Watkins was ready off the back of that moment against the Dutch. Watkins was ready off the back of everything we know about Ivan Toney. Toney was ready. But what do? We play Harry Kane. And then when we play Harry Kane and he's woeful, absolutely atrociously woeful, what do? We go, Southgate shouldn't have picked him. Why can't Harry Kane, as the captain, take some responsibility?
Southgate is the manager, Rory. Southgate picks the team.
No doubt.
He can drop him. And maybe should have dropped him. I understand what you're saying, but I'd imagine, and listen, I've never been in this position, but I imagine being a professional footballer, going into a European Championship final where you are the captain, I imagine it's very hard to go to the manager and essentially say to the manager, I'm not going to play. Maybe he should have done that. But also as well, another option would be that Gareth Southgate's got eyes, like we all do. He sees that his centre-forward's not running properly and isn't fit, and then says to his captain, do you know what, Harry? Let's use you as an impact player off the bench. That's also an option, Rory, as well.
I agree. No, I don't disagree with that, Sam. I think that there's certainly a world where Gareth Southgate could have taken the decision away from Harry Kane, and probably should have done. We go, Harry Kane only touched the ball 13 times against the Spanish in the final. Fine, that's appalling. But this isn't a shock. In the first game against Slovakia in that first half, he touched the ball twice. So we have known that Harry Kane has been woeful throughout. Woeful. In fact, in the build-up to the tournament, was it Iceland at Wembley when he just blazed it over the bar from 2 yards out off the back of a Cole Palmer cross?
Yeah.
Fine, he had a dazzling season for Bayern Munich. But ultimately, when it's really mattered, which is the build-up to the tournament and the start of this tournament, the group stages, England were in a very, very forgiving group where we could find a feet, find our rhythm. Harry Kane is off it. Totally off it. So what is the point in persevering with somebody because of what they have done in the past?
Well, because in the past, there's a bloke that scored 40 goals every single season for near enough 10 years, isn't it?
England lost this game for many reasons. But, if you really boil it down, why did England not win the tournament? I think if you wanted to have a really basic, non-nuanced answer, Because Harry Kane didn't turn up.
Rubbish.
100% true.
What a load of come on, that's nonsense.
I think if
What about Phil Foden? The best player in the Premier League last season, Pep Guardiola's golden boy, that the year before last season not carried them, but was a massive part of Man City. What about Phil Foden? What about Declan Rice, the £100 million midfielder? You can't just be down on one man, Rory.
Lots of arguments. I thought Declan Rice was appalling. We'll never compare Rice to Rodri ever again. But if you boil it down, right, we distill this to one problem. England's problem was the number 9. England's problem was Harry Kane dropping so deep. England's
problems as well. Bellingham and Foden had problems.
It was a problem because there was no one leading the line. It was a problem because Harry Kane drops deep. He gets in the way of Foden, in the way of Bellingham.
So Harry Kane drops deep, right? And as we know, having watched Harry Kane play in the Premier League for many years, one of Harry Kane's best strengths is dropping deep and having two runners that run in behind, right? Harry Kane didn't have that in this tournament. Once again, that comes down to a tactical problem. The failings are not on Harry Kane. Kane scored 40-plus goals last season with two wingers in Musiala and Sane that run in behind him. And he's got an England team that are playing with a low block with two wingers that want to play at 10s. It's too easy to say it's down to Harry Kane. I think it's lazy and too easy.
I don't think it's lazy or easy. I think it's actually a very brave argument to make because most people won't like it. Most people will try and find a way to insulate Kane from the criticism, but the reality
I'm not insulating him, whatever that word was. That's a big word.
I think you are. What you're saying. I said Kane. If we boil this down, England's problem was the number 9. Not a particularly controversial point.
That's very controversial.
England's problem was Kane. England's problem was the number 9.
Southgate's tactics
you
not
start
a problem?
talking about Declan Rice and Phil Foden because you want to insulate Kane from the criticism.
I'm saying he's part. There are many reasons why England didn't win, struggled. It's impossible that it's simply just down to one man.
But it's constant with him. It's constant. When you say it's not down to one man, on one occasion that would be true. Harry Kane's played in 6 finals. You keep talking to me about his goal scoring ability, and it's true. He's a wonderful goal scorer, but he's never scored a goal that matters. He's never affected football properly. He's played in 6 finals, never scored a goal. At what point do we go, do you know what? He is a wonderful footballer. He is. But what we need is winners, ruthless, goal-hungry winners. People who find a way. People who just find a way to win.
Rory, mate, you said we need winners. Phil Foden's a treble winner. Bellingham the Champions League winner, right? We got winners. We have winners in that team, right? Stones and Walker. Where the hell were they yesterday?
Well, I mean, crucially, they were on the pitch.
Walker's the winner. He was useless. All tournament. Carl Walker, Rory. Yes or no? Carl Walker was useless. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And he's the winner. I mean, but it's Harry Kane's fault.
Yeah,
it doesn't add up, Rory.
Of course it does. We're talking about a right back to a centre forward.
Rory, he cost us. You could argue it was a fault for both goals yesterday.
But
certainly the first goal. Maybe second goal was a bit harsh.
When we came into this tournament, if England were going to win the tournament, it was never going to be because of Carl Walker. If England were going to win the tournament before a ball was kicked, it was because Harry Kane was going to score the goals to drive us to the trophy. He didn't. And don't tell me that he won the Golden Boot.
I didn't even know who did win the Golden Boot.
He did.
Harry Kane won it.
We shared.
Oh, really?
Three goals.
Oh, I mean, no one cares, do they, about that?
No,
no one cares about that. Do you want to see Harry Kane play again for England? Because I asked you that at the top of the show, and you didn't give me a convincing answer. Yes or no? Do you want to see Harry Kane? But let's say, do you want to see Harry Kane be part of this England team in September as you build up to that World Cup?
I don't feel the way that I have done. Sam, it is important to acknowledge, right? I have backed Kane to a ridiculous level, like a blind love of Kane, even when he was playing for Tottenham. So there is no element of tribalism with me here. I am honestly... No. I've backed him relentlessly. When everybody was saying that he was a problem, I said absolutely not. He's sensational.
Wait, a problem for who said he was a problem?
Oh, it's been a recurring theme. But basically, anyone who sat in that seat, Adeola Depot, famously
for England,
for England and generally,
a problem.
Yeah. Addy went very early on it, and I combated it as best I could. But it's getting to the stage now where you just think it can't be coincidental that every final he plays in, he vanishes. It can't be coincidental that despite being this wonderful footballer, he's got to the ripe old age that he's at, and he's gotten 0 trophies. He's literally never, ever scored a goal that actually affects anything.
He spent 10 years playing for Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? I know last season was at Bayern. I know that. Yeah. But he had 10 years at Spurs.
Yeah, but there were plenty of teams. And
if you're seriously telling me that the reason why that Tottenham for 10 years or 8 years, however long he was there for, didn't win a trophy because of Harry Kane, their best player by now. I mean, come on, Rory.
But they had plenty of chances to win silverware with Kane in the team. At various points, they had the best team in the country. You know, over 2 years, they accrued more points than anyone else. At various points, it was them. They were a wonderful team, and they won nothing. It can't be coincidental. And also, if you look at the amount of teams that did win silverware in that period, they were far worse teams than Tottenham.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.